guys, it's Karen and I am here purely for a rant, and I wanted to see what you guys thought of it all and who you trust, because I feel like I can't trust anyone or anything now on the internet, and it's just kind of blown my mind. It's like, well, how do I find out if things are good or not? And you guys are amazing, because whenever I've mentioned anything like that, you guys say that you trust me and my reviews, and I'm really pleased with that, because I know that I'm an honest person. My honesty gets me into trouble a lot of the time. You know, people will say to me, well, you didn't actually say that, did you? You know, because I just say what I think and I can't hide. Like, if I don't like something, there's no way I'd be able to do a video saying I liked it. But then who do I trust? You know, I don't know who you guys can't just rely on me, because I don't review everything. So I would like to know who you trust for opinions on things, and what do you watch on the internet, or on social media, if anything. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was everything's AI. And that's something that I think everybody is struggling with. Is it AI or is it not? You know, you see a video and you think that's lovely, but is that AI or is it not? And one of the ones I saw on, this is the first one where I was immediately like, this is AI. It was a dog saving a baby from falling in the pool. And it was just so obviously not what a dog would do, because like the baby was sitting on the edge of the pool and it went up and kind of put its arms around it and moved it away. And it's like, no way. There's no way a dog would do that. And also, what parents that were in a situation where there was a great big pool like that, you know, like they weren't showing a drug den, you know, they were showing a great big house with a pool and somebody videoing, obviously, would leave their baby just sitting on the edge of the pool. Like it just, and there was nobody else around. Like it just didn't make sense. Immediately I was like, oh my God, this is AI. Now I thought that was so obvious, but then I looked at the comments and people were like, oh, dogs are just amazing. And I was like, oh my goodness, you know, I am the biggest supporter of anything that makes people adore dogs. But are people now going to be, you know, getting dogs, be it rescuing or getting a puppy, are they going to be getting dogs expecting them to do things that they just would never do because they are a dog? Like, you know, I the most I've seen and that I think a dog would do is I've seen little Dachshunds pulling a blanket over a baby, and I don't think that's AI. But they're not going to rescue a baby. They're not going to put their arms around it. Like, they can't actually do that, you know, and pull it away from the edge. Like, it's just ridiculous. But people are obviously believing these things, and that's just one that I've seen. I've seen loads where people in the comments have said, is this AI? And so now it's like, you watch it and you think, oh, that's lovely. And then you think, well, but is that AI? And I think, well, I don't know whether to believe that or not, because some of them are just give you, you know, they really make you smile and give you a little bit of faith back in humanity, some of these things. And then I think, but is it AI? Is it somebody that's made it up? And in some circumstances, does it matter? You know, I think, you know what, does it matter? If it makes you smile and it makes you happy, does it matter? But it does if it's giving you a false view of the world, I feel like, you know. So that's the AI thing. Tell me what you think. How do you know what you're watching is AI or not? Does it not bother you? Are you just watching things and thinking, oh, well, if it's AI, so be it? Or are you now hyper suspicious of everything you watch like I am? Or did you not even know that something, you know, would you not even enter your head that it's AI? I suppose I became suspicious because I was looking at this thing and I said to Kev I was tempted to do it, but then I thought, no, it's just, it feels kind of deceitful, where you can record yourself talking. I think you have to record yourself in a video. Like I would just do a video like this, and then you upload it to this website. And then if I then wanted to make a video or a review of something, and say I had a great big spot or something, I would then type out my review and then feed it into this website, and it would create a video from the one that I'd uploaded, which it does look very real, because I was watching our video about it, you know, and it does look very, very real. But I was like, no, it felt too deceitful. I don't know. And that's what started me thinking, well, if I am considering even considered that for a minute, and I feel like I'm one of the most honest out there, then imagine the people that are not honest. Like, again, even if you're watching a video of a YouTuber, is it really them? I suppose, what does that matter? That was my thinking with that. It's still me doing a review. It would just be, I was thinking, on days when I was really ill and it wasn't up to doing my makeup, it would be good if I could maybe write things out. I don't think it would sound the same if you wrote it out anyway. But like I said, I'm now suspicious. Is that really somebody talking to me in a YouTube video, or is it not? I think the only things you can trust are actually if you meet people in person. I feel like we've gone back in time. It's like you can only trust recommendations from people and what people are actually saying to you. Mind you, even then, everybody has a different version of what they've seen and experienced, don't they? So that's the AI thing in terms of trusting. One of the other things about AI, though, that I wanted to talk about was like Google AI in particular. I haven't experienced it with ChatGPT, and I do ask questions of ChatGPT and they have been correct. But Google AI has been wrong for me about 4 times, and that's in the last month. I've only got 2 examples. I can't remember the other 2 are, but it's just happening so often. One of them was I was looking up a word. Somebody said something about somebody being loquacious on TV, and I was like, I've heard that word before, but I've no idea what it means. Let me have a look. And so I looked it up just in Google, but when you just look it up on Google now, Google AI gives you a summary. And the summary it gave, where is my phone? Because I actually took a screenshot and showed it to Kevin. I said, this doesn't make sense, does it? And I didn't know if it was just me. So loquacious means tending to talk a great deal. Talkative, basically. Very talkative. And I was laughing, saying that would make me very loquacious because I'm very talkative. The example of the sentence they gave was, never loquacious, Sarah was now totally lost for words. And I was reading it thinking, that doesn't make any sense. That's saying, never talkative, Sarah was now lost for words. But it should be, always loquacious, Sarah was now totally lost for words. So it was used in a completely wrong context. And I feel like 99% of the world, maybe I'm wrong, but 99% of the world are looking things up on Google. And the first thing that now comes up is Google AI. I don't know if there's a way you can switch it off. If there is, I'm going to do it. I need to look that up. It's one of those small little things that you just think, I must do that, and you never get around to it, But it's wrong. And so how many people are going to be looking words up? And like, no wonder they're saying things wrong on the TV. There's the amount of things that are said wrong on reality TV, and I'll always pause what I'm watching. I've got a lot of guilty pleasure reality TV I watch. And I'll pause it and say to Kev, come and listen to this. They use the word generally instead of genuinely. And they'll be like, no, I generally like him. I really genuinely like him. And I'm like, you genuinely like him. You don't generally like him. You genuinely like him, And they use all these words wrong. And I don't know why I'm saying that, because I haven't got the greatest grammar myself. But it's something that really interests me. And it's something I try to make myself sound better. I improve myself. See what I mean? I'm not very articulate, I would say. Although a complete side note, there's this girl that she used to work. We used to have this rental place here that did Airbnbs, and it's now a cafe. And she used to work there, and she used to come past here all the time. And I can say her name actually. Her name is, oh no, I've forgotten it. It's not Ella. Erica. Her name was Erica. And Erica used to always say hello to me and chat to her a few times. She was lovely. She'd always ask how you were. She always asked after Watson, and she was around when Watson had cancer, and I was really upset. And so I would say I knew her. She wasn't a friend, but I knew her to say hello to her and to chat to her and to ask how she was. And then she got pregnant and she had a baby and all of this. Anyways, I'd known her for years, and I was out on my patio. She'd always say hello to me. I ended up walking around the block with her. I had Watson, and she was walking the neighbour's dog. She didn't have a dog, but she was walking the neighbour's dog. And we ended up walking around around here for a little bit and chatting. And there were several things that came out, and she said she was floored. Firstly, she said, oh, do you mind if I smoke? And I was like, do you mind if I smoke? Of course I don't mind if you smoke. You're out in the middle of fresh air, like do what you want. You're not like in a confined space with me. You don't need to ask me. And I said to her, apart from anything, I used to smoke 30 a day. I was a big smoker. Kevin and I gave up, 15 years ago. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I asked her how this guy was. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but I asked her how he was, and he's in prison. And he's another guy that worked there. And I can't remember how I knew he was in prison. I suppose people talk, but I said, oh, how is he? Have you been to see him? And she was like, I don't know whether he'd want people knowing because he might like feel judged. And I was like, well, I can't remember who told me. And I said, but certainly I wouldn't judge him. I said, because my dad was in prison for many years for attempted murder. I said, my brother was in prison for many years. So I couldn't be one to judge. And she was like, what? And she couldn't believe this. And she was like, oh my God. And she said, I thought you were really posh. And I was like, posh? I was like brought up on a council house estate. And she was like, oh my God. She was just, everything I said the whole way round was completely the opposite to what she thought of me as a person. And I was kind of disappointed. And I was like, how did you think I was posh? And she said, well, because I suppose this is a big flat, but it's still a flat. You know, it's an apartment. It's not a house. And she said, and you speak so well. And Kev's posh, you know. But I just was like, what? I can't believe she thought that. And the funny thing is, I was telling one of the other women in the block here that I'm friendly with, and we have a laugh. And I said to her, well, Erica thought I was posh. And she laughed. She just laughed. And I said, what are you laughing at? I could be posh, you know. And she was the opposite because she's a lot posher than me, you know. Anyway, why did I tell you that? What has that got to do with anything? Honestly, I don't know what that's got to do with anything. But I think I was telling you about this whole loquacious thing. And what I was telling you about was that people are saying things in the wrong context and using words wrongly. And you think, well, and that didn't just happen with the word generally. It happened with a few different words. And it's kind of confusing because you listen to it and you think, am I getting it wrong? Like, what are they saying? Or you think you've misheard it, you know. And no wonder that would happen if you go into Google and it's wrong because, like I said, 99% of the world are looking at Google. So the other thing that has really bothered me, and this is nothing to do with AI now. We're moving away from AI. I think this is only my second point, and I think that's it. Then I'll stop ranting. I even put a rant video to myself and listed everything. Oh no, there was one other, the other Google AI thing that I was going to tell you that this is really, excuse my language, but this has pissed me off. I was in Boots looking at, what do you call it? Lamella waters. You know how I like lamella waters? I like to use them as a rinse before I put conditioner on. And I saw these new ones by John Frieda and I thought, John Frieda, is that one of the ones that's cruelty free? I can't remember. Is that one of the ones I use? I can't remember. And I was like, right, let me check and see if they're cruelty free. So I put John Frieda cruelty free into my phone and up it came, yes, John Frieda is cruelty free. And then I used them and I thought, oh, these are a bit rubbish. And I went to put them in my empties and I thought, let me just check that they are cruelty free. Let me double check because I didn't think they were, you know, when I sort of really thought about it. And it's difficult because when you're in Boots or wherever, there's not always a great signal. I can't always get attached to the Wi-Fi. And so you can't get up what you want to get up. You know, and you could say, well, you should just leave it. But if you look it up and it says cruelty free, me, certainly, I'm not going to question it. It's just like, all right, okay, well, now I am. And I looked John Frieda up. They're not cruelty free at all. They're not because they sell in China. Now, I know everybody has different degrees of cruelty free and all the rest of it. But like now I've bought a non-cruelty free product and that really annoys me. And that's because of blooming Google AI giving me the wrong information. So don't trust Google AI. And I promise you I'll move away from Google AI now. The other thing is about reviews of things. I got this letter. I nearly showed you my address there. I got this letter from Amazon and I couldn't believe it. How long have I been taping? Let me got this letter from Amazon. I'm going to have to put my glasses on to read it. And I could not believe it. And I was reading it out to Kevin. He actually noticed something else on it. And I was like, what? So this says, thank you for purchasing our floss water dental flosser. So I bought a water jet flosser thing. This is ages ago, but I just got this letter recently from Amazon. Or not even from Amazon. I guess it's got the Amazon thing all over it. And I did buy it on Amazon, but it's from the seller. Thank you for purchasing this. We truly hope you are satisfied with both the product and the service you have received. If not, please give your experience right away. Our dedicated support team is always here to assist you. Except there's nowhere that you can get... Oh, no, there is. There's an email address. I was going to say there's no way you can get in touch. There's an email address, but it doesn't put that place to get in touch about if you've got any issues. Meanwhile, we would also welcome you to post a product review so that others can benefit from your experience. And I'm reading this thinking, yeah, fair enough. And then it says... And I wondered why there was this £20 gift card. in the middle of this letter. This is why I was reading it all the way through. As a growing business, we know how scarce time can be, so we especially appreciate your time and input. In return, we will provide you with a £20 Amazon gift card, as well as the opportunity to try another product for free. And I read that and I was like, oh, wow, you give them a review and they're going to give you a £20 gift card. And I thought, I kind of get that, because they're right. We are all short on time. I'm certainly short on time. Otherwise, I would spend my life doing reviews, because I've always got something to say, but I just think I haven't got time to review all of these things, you know. But at this point, I was like, it just said a review. We really appreciate your time and input. Others can benefit. Post a product review. That's all it said. But then it gets down to the bit about the £20 Amazon card. 2 steps to easily get bonus. Find our product in your order list. Write a 5-star review. And they've showed you the 5 stars, as if you don't know what that is. Send your order number, 5-star review screenshot, and your bonus. I don't know what that means, and your bonus, to this email address. And that's it. So you just have to give a 5-star review and you'll get £20 Amazon gift card. What I didn't realise in the little writing at the bottom, but I gave this to Kev, I was like, wait until you see this letter. So he read it and he went, oh my God. And he said, what about this bit at the bottom? For your account security, please do not attach pictures of this letter when you leave a product review. For your account, it's nothing to do with your account security. What has that got to do with anything? What they're saying is they don't want people to know that this is a bribe. It's nothing to do with your account security. But what really bothered me about this was, well, everything about this bothers me. There is a little part of me that gets it. I get it. They want reviews. And unless they get reviews, and nobody's got time to write reviews, and unless they get the reviews, their product is not going to sell very well. And genuine review, like I would genuinely, as it happens, I would probably give this product maybe not a 5-star, maybe 4-star. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Don't really leave Amazon reviews, but it's a really good product. And I wouldn't generally leave a review. And so who's going to review it for them, you know? So I kind of get it from that aspect. However, what I also get was, I was saying to Kev, right now in the financial position we're in, I wouldn't even consider doing this. But after Kev and I lost our jobs and finances were much tighter, and Watson was so ill. Remember, we sold one of our cars to pay for his surgery and, you know, downgraded Kev's car. £20 would have been a lot of money. £20 gift card plus a free item would have seemed like Christmas and would have been really useful. And it would have been really useful in things like the things I get from Amazon, like a heat pad for my neck, or replacement pads for my cephaly, or replacement electrodes for my TENS machine that I use on my back, like things that would really make a difference to my life. And so if it was something that I liked and I would have given a 4-star review, it maybe would have tempted me to do a 5-star review and go for this, because why not? And so again, like I said before, you know, I know that I'm an honest person, and yet I could have considered this when I was more in need of it. And so I know there's a lot of people in that situation, and so I wouldn't judge them for doing that, because why wouldn't you, you know? Like, it's almost money for nothing. I don't think I wouldn't have been able to do it if the product was rubbish, because I just couldn't. I just really couldn't do that. I just wouldn't be able to find the words. But how many products is this going on with? I mean, I've only received it once, and I do buy a lot from Amazon, so maybe not too many products. But now it's like, okay, so I can't even believe the Amazon reviews. So when I'm reading 5-star reviews on Amazon, I can't believe them. And then you'll go onto another shop and it's like, this is a verified purchase at Summer. And I'm like, does that mean that they were sent it? Sometimes it says they were sent it for free. On Boots, it often says they were sent it for free. And then others you read and you think, they've not ticked the button to say they were sent it for free. So who are you supposed to believe it for reviews? Especially Amazon, because I buy, like I said, so much stuff. I feel like if I'm going to buy something, the first place I look is Amazon. Even I just ordered a couple of days ago and got my agave syrup, because you can't get it in supermarkets anymore, but I can get it on Amazon. I don't need a review for that, but who do you guys believe? You know, did you guys know this was going on? Have you ever received a letter like this? Or an email like this or anything, and would you be tempted? And that being the case, whose review do you believe? apart from me. I know that you guys believe me, or some of you do. I don't know whether all of you do, but I have had comments saying people believe my reviews, and I love that. Love that for you guys, because I'll tell you the truth. And I've turned down, and actually recently turned down, a couple of sponsored videos. There's people wanting to pay me for things. What was? Oh, I won't tell you the brand, but somebody had asked me they would pay me to review a mascara. I think because I'm always talking about mascara, and if I like one, but there was one from their brand that I liked, and so they were like, we want you to try this other mascara. Well, not try it. They wanted to send it to me and me do this video. And I was just replied, and I was like, I'm afraid I can't do that, because actually I have tried that mascara before, and I know that it's not that good in my opinion. And I was like, and also I would never agree to be paid for a review before I had tried something if I hadn't tried it. So yeah, only because, like I said, I couldn't do that to you guys, and I couldn't be on screen and go, this mascara is great and it really works well. It would sound like I was doing a QVC advert, I'm sure, although I suppose I get taken in by them, but it would sound really false, I think. So yeah, let me know. I'm going to stop ranting now. I had intended to do this whilst doing my makeup. It would have been much more interesting for you guys if I wasn't just sitting here as a talking head doing my makeup. But honestly, I can't imagine how I can do that, because when I do my makeup, let me show you the mirror. I use this mirror. I'll put this behind it so it doesn't blind you. This is what I do. I have my mirror this close. So I was like, how am I going to do? Like, I'd have to do it like this. And I feel like it's hard enough to do my makeup as it is, without having to then try and make sure. So if I did it like this, you wouldn't be able to see my makeup. So I'd have to sort of do it sideways on like this. And I don't know that you'd be able to see everything. And so to try and do that, in addition to try and put my makeup on, because I'm blooming blind, and I'm not going to just put a contact lens in just to do my makeup. I can't put my glasses on, obviously that doesn't work. And then, yeah, I feel like it's even more difficult than it used to be. I always found that difficult putting makeup on camera. But I was going to do that, and I'm sorry that I couldn't. If I can think of anything to make this more interesting, I will. But I would love to know from you, your rants. Let's have a rant. Rant in the comments about things that you don't trust anymore. Tell me where you do trust, who you do trust, and then you always feel better, don't you, after having a rant? Definitely, I meet my friend for lunch and we have a good old rant about things and always feel better. And you feel better when somebody else feels the same way as you. When somebody else is like, yeah, I feel the same, like I don't know where to, it makes you feel better. So thank you so much for listening to me rant today, and I'll speak to you again soon.